Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Vegan Proteins, Muscles by Brussels Radio. My name is 𝐶𝐿.
And I'm Danny.
And this is our 96th episode.
Wow, 96 episodes. Do you think we can get 100 before the end of 2022?
I'm gunning for it. If we do one a week, something like that, we should be good to go before 2023.
Oh my God, it would be so exciting to hit 100.
100's a big number.
And they're 45-ish minute episodes too.
And we got some of you that have been
and
listening.
It's just you and me, pretty much always. That's a lot of talking to each other.
Well, no, there's a lot of times where we find out that someone's been listening since episode 1, since we first started doing this, or sometimes someone's like, hey, I just found you, and I just, binged through all of your episodes. Like, that's cool. So I guess what I want to say is, listener appreciation. We appreciate you sticking with us and letting us know what you want us to talk about, so it's not just me and Danny talking to ourselves.
Yeah, which I guess makes sense. Tomorrow, as of us recording this, tomorrow is Thanksgiving, and talking about some of the things we're grateful for. Definitely, we are grateful for the listeners of this podcast, the watchers of our YouTube, the people who are on our email list. Without you guys interacting with us and telling us some of the things going on in your world, we don't know what to talk about and what's helpful to you. So we appreciate you. We wouldn't do this without you. So thanks for listening.
Yeah.
So, and tomorrow's Thanksgiving, so we have that to talk about too.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk pie.
Okay.
So we are going to have almost the tiniest Thanksgiving we've ever had, other than in 2020 when it was just the two of us.
Yes.
But it's just going to be the two of us, my mom, and Daisy and Desmond, who are our niece and our nephew. So 3 adults, 2 kids. How many pies am I making? 4. That's right.
So what is the pie to person ratio here?
It is if the kids each count as a half of a person.
I like how you're thinking.
It's a 1 person per pie ratio going on. So we could each have a quarter of all of the pies.
Do you get to call dibs on the pie that you want to be yours?
No, we got to split this even Steven.
Fair enough.
So it's my actually first time making pies completely from scratch. I usually use pre-made pie crusts, but I'm making the crusts from scratch this year too. So a little bit of an experiment there. Could be disastrous. We'll see how it goes. And no, these guys are not macro friendly. The stuffing will be, because I make so much stuffing I want us to eat it for a month.
Do you feel like you finally got a hold of the custard pie recipe?
I do, actually. So let me know, guys, if this is just a New England thing or not, because I'm not sure. But traditionally here, people eat egg custard pie, and I grew up eating it for breakfast. I don't know if everybody else does, but in other parts of the country, I have not been able to even find a custard pie. Forget about it. I've never seen a vegan custard pie. So for literally 10 years, I've been trying to perfect a vegan custard pie. And last year, I got way closer than I've ever gotten before, and I wrote down exactly what I did. So this year, I'm retesting last year's recipe, and I'm so pumped. It's really, really good.
The thing with Danny is either it comes out right or she's disappointed, and either which way it's a win, because if she's disappointed, she just keeps going and she's stubborn like that until she gets it just right. And that's one of the things I love about her.
I love to cook for people. I'm not that interested in cooking for myself, though. Go figure. Anyway, we're not actually talking about Thanksgiving today. We are talking about something much more fun. 𝐶𝐿, this past weekend, just wrapped up his marathon competition season. Bodybuilding, not actually marathons. I just mean it's been very long. And we finally wrapped up the bodybuilding season this past Saturday. Yes, he chose to end his competition season 4 days before Thanksgiving. That's a choice for sure. And we wanted to talk about coming out of that extreme of a diet or contest prep, which is really just a very extreme diet. So first of all, how do you feel like the season went as a whole? And maybe you can tell people a little bit about your final competition.
I think that the season did not go as I had expected it to, but that's because life threw me some surprises, and also I took on a lot of responsibility of my own choosing this year. In other words, we brought Plantville back. I managed a team of, 20 athletes, and all of the fanfare around it. In addition to that, we began fostering Daisy and Desmond again, and that was unexpected, right? So I think between those two things, and also we have more employees now. We're a coaching team of 3. We have our VA. So in other words, business. We focused on business, growing business.
Well, our business is a lot bigger than it was the last time you competed.
Yes.
We're also homeowners, which we weren't the last time
Yes.
you competed. We also live with my mother, which we
Yes.
did not the last time you competed. So yeah, it's a very different world than your last competition season for us.
There were a lot of moving parts, some expected, some unexpected. And while I was up for the task at hand, I think some of this prep went a little bit sideways at the worst possible time, in my opinion, during the actual competition season, and that stressed me out. But, the last 3 weeks I was able to course correct, and I finished off the season with my best look of the entire, like it officially started in the beginning of October, and it ended end of November, so.
Well, you're competing. Your actual prep, your actual diet kind of started in August of last year.
Well, I didn't consider the diet the prep. I considered the diet the getting ready to cross the starting line, right? So I got to a place where I was in the lower end of an athletic body fat range, and then I chilled for a little while. But after you diet like that, you still do feel the effects of diet, even if you stable out. So that definitely put a strain on me and everything and everyone around me, right? To some degree. Not a lot, but enough where it was noticeable, right?
I was joking.
I know. But then the real fun began, and that's when prep actually started, which was around, I want to say, April or May. And this time around, I took it further than I ever have before, which, of course, the next time I do this, sometime between 2028 to 2030, I'm going to take it even further, because that's just how it goes. But this time around, it was like nothing I had ever experienced before. And that in of itself made it hard for me to wrap my head around this thing, because I tried to take a little more of a type B personality approach this time around. And at some point I realized, oh my gosh, like this is not going to work for me, not this time around. I need to be a little more calculated. But by the time I realized that, it was a bit too late, and I had to do some course correcting multiple times. The one that was the most painful was course correcting during the season. Like I was going out to one of the shows and I was like, dang, I did not manage my water and sodium responsibly, and I'm going out bloated. Like I did not enjoy that look. But the first show in Mr. America and the last one in, where was I? Where were we?
This last one, Providence, Rhode Island.
Battle of the Gods.
Yeah.
Cool trophies, by the way. I did not have any bloat, so that was good.
Yeah, it was definitely, I don't think that a person can take a type B personality route to the stage. You can't do it. I think you can be a little bit loose, a little bit flexible with a regular diet, with a regular cut. You know, if you're 80% adherent, you're going to be fine. With a contest prep, I don't know if people totally understand this. You need to be like 98% adherent in order to be moving forward, and there will come a point where it's 100 or bust. Like it's 100% adherence or you're moving in the wrong direction. And that is hard. And it is when you are feeling your worst and your lowest energy and your crankiest and your hungriest. And it's like, oh, got to give a little more. This is the time to push. It's like you got to find something where there is nothing, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. So I learned that lesson the hard way a couple of times. I still do like that I tried to implement as much of a type E personality strategy to this prep. I think it helped more than hurt until it didn't. And I think in the future, I will still adapt and adopt to that kind of a mindset, but not without executing at a 98 percentile way or more. Because like Danny said, if you're at some point, you have to. Mm-hmm. If you're not doing it that way, you're just not going to get to where you need to go.
Yeah. So what is your... Well, I saw some of your plan on the weekend. So we stayed in Providence, Rhode Island. Our wedding anniversary was back in October, but we couldn't actually do anything because we had plant built and Giacomo was like so deep in this. I said, hey, let's just celebrate our wedding anniversary in Providence. Like we'll spend the whole weekend. We'll make a thing out of it. Providence was so much fun, guys. it's only an hour and a half away from me, and I've never spent time there before. And it was super, super, super duper vegan friendly, and there was like a lot of fun stuff to do there as well. So we had a blast, and 𝐬𝐝𝐾 ate his way through the city.
Oh, yeah. Well, first off, where else can you find a place that has multiple restaurants, a marketplace, a drive-through, a bar, and a whole scene, a whole slew of vegans, takeout, coffee, everything, all in one, a city, if you will, unto itself, legitimately called Plant City. And this open concept, there's multiple operations going. Is there more than two? Are there more than two?
Yeah.
How?
So I don't think there's more than 2 of the Plant City. So I had heard about Plant City, and I heard that it was like a vegan food court. And I thought that was cool. Vegan food court, rad. I thought it would be like a bunch of, casual tables with a bunch of counters where you go up and order and sit down. But this was not that. This was like 5 different vegan restaurants under one roof with no walls, right? So you still had to pick which restaurant you wanted to be in, but there weren't walls. There was a burger joint, like burger and sandwich joint. And these were like nice places too. Like kind of a little bit fancy, actually. It's like burger and sandwich place, a breakfast cafe, a sushi restaurant, Mexican restaurant, and an Italian restaurant, all under one roof.
Across the street, a vegan speakeasy that we
Didn't
put
know
on
about.
to. Yeah, we have to go back and check that out.
And the food was amazing. We spent like literally hundreds of dollars there over the weekend.
And there were other places to go and enjoy as well. Not that the only focus was food. There was also a really cool free play arcade place. Like for me, I like retro gaming, and I like going to places with pinball machines and arcades and all kinds of stuff that you can just indulge and just feel like a kid again.
But we had a blast at the arcade.
Oh,
we pay $10 to get in, but then all of the games are free.
Which,
very neat. We love arcades. But what is your what was your plan going into the weekend post competition season?
Oh, to just not even care, to just eat. Unfortunately, when your stomach has shrunken and your systems have been largely dormant as far as like you eating normally and you feeling normal and stable and balanced, when you light up your system and your electrolytes are somewhat imbalanced too from competing, your body doesn't really respond too well. Like, it's fun. Don't get me wrong. It's fun to just eat and not think about it and overindulge. But, like, you kind of pay for it a little bit while your digestion is waking up and your body has been so deprived and this and that. But it was still a lot of fun. It was still fun to just not have to think about tracking, worrying about portions, being able to hang out. Although it is a little odd when you're hanging out with your significant other, your friends, and like you're the one that's just like, food. But fortunately, Danny was more than happy to indulge me and just enjoy as we went from like place to place and tried all the vegan stuff.
Yeah, I'm not here to judge. I very quickly realized that I could not hang with the amount of food that 𝐬𝐝𝐾 was planning on putting down. So I enlisted a strategy of just having bites of things so that I could try all the stuff. But even that left my stomach a little bit upset. But it was very, very fun. And, in 2018, that was my last competition season was 2018. And at the end of it, I did the same thing. My last show was 4 days before Thanksgiving. And I was like, it's not going to be a big deal. Not going to be a big deal at all. Nah, man, for me, I was looking back, I'm like, why did I do that? Because the best shows are at the end of the fall, guys. Like, these are the best shows. Worlds happened on that same day. Jenny Harrison competed in Worlds in bikini. She got 3rd in the world.
Killed
it. Pretty freaking awesome. But, those are the best, most competitive shows are at the end of the season.
Oh, yeah. Best lineups that I was in, definitely in the open. I mean, you're the one watching. How do you feel like the Masters lineup there compared to...
Oh, the Masters lineup was good. I think maybe the Masters lineup at Mr. America was a little bit more competitive, but the open lineup at this last show was just crazy.
Solid.
Just crazy.
Yeah.
Have you guys heard of the Vegan Cruise? If not, we want to tell you about it because we are so excited to be presenters on the 2023 cruise, and we would love to see you guys there. So the Vegan Cruise is exactly what it sounds like and so much more. It's a cruise from March 17th to March 24th that leaves from Miami and will be visiting Belize, Honduras, Costa Maya, and the Bahamas on the beautiful MSC Divinia. It is so cool to wake up in a new country every day of the trip, seriously. But as if that wasn't enough, one of the biggest drawbacks of most cruises is that there's nothing vegan to eat. I had a client actually go on a cruise recently, and she said she was shocked at how little she could eat, and for that price, it just was not worth it for her. But that's not a problem on this cruise because all 3 meals are fully catered, vegan, and made by gourmet chefs. You will never be hungry. There are also get-togethers like ice cream socials and pizza parties out by the pool. Very fun. And to top all of that off, the cruise is absolutely loaded with some of the biggest leaders in the vegan movement, giving lectures, presentations, and classes. Folks like Dr. Greger, Dr. Barnard, Dr. Clapper, Robert Cheek, Juliana Hever, and so many more, and of course, us. We will be hosting exercise classes and giving presentations on plant-based fitness. And of course, we would very much love to spend time with any of our listeners who come out. So if you're interested, click the link in the show notes to book your spot because it always sells out. And mention Vegan Proteins when you book and you'll get a $50 onboarding credit at the vegan bookstore. We look forward to vacationing with you guys.
I want to hear more about your strategy for this improvement season.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah. So what I did this time around, look, this is not my first rodeo. This is like, am I allowed to use that expression as a city slicker? Is that okay?
That's not how you say it.
Oh, okay. So it's okay. It's one of those things where I just spit things out and they, something probably doesn't stick. But anyways, yeah, I've prepped, I think, I'm not counting exactly, but it's been like somewhere between 5 to 10 times. And each time I learn something from the last prep and the strategy improves. So this time around, knowing full well what to expect, about 2 to 3 weeks before my season was over, I started to really get into the nitty gritty and really get granular about my intentions as far as when this prep was done. So what I like to do is I like to journal, whether it's a list or a couple paragraphs worth of whatever I'm feeling and thinking as far as what I'm going to do. Like, you're going to make sure that you eat whole foods. You're going to go on more dates with your wife. You're going to be more of a family man. You're going to take up different sports to get your mind off of bodybuilding, et cetera, et cetera. And the list goes on. But the point is, like, way before my prep even started, I was thinking about this stuff. During my prep, I started to get serious about it while still focusing on what was right in front of me. And at the end of my competition season, 3 weeks beforehand, not only did I make a list of things I was going to do, I started to book them out. There's something to be said about letting the plan come to you and not putting things into action and not checking all the boxes. I get that. But I also feel like it's important to actually put things in motion ahead of time to make sure that you set yourself up for success. So what I wound up doing was, over the course of the last 3 weeks, these things that I planned, I put into action. I reserved a round robin for this Sunday, for example, for an hour.
That's a tennis thing, right?
Round robin is the thing. You go there, the pick-me-up games, essentially. Yeah, they assign...
But they're tennis, right?
Yeah, you assign different tennis players to each other and you play. Mm-hmm. So this is a way for me to still be active, but to not just be into like what has become my obsession, lifting as much as I possibly can without getting hurt, and walking nonstop. One could argue that I could just lift and do what I'm supposed to do as programmed, and it's a lot different, a lot less. But like, I want to enjoy other things. There's really no reason for me to do that. I can still, and in my opinion, arguably, when you take a break from what you've been doing and it's been a borderline obsession, it actually recharges you, restores your batteries, and you wind up being able to do it even harder. So round robin of tennis. Saturday, I'm going snowboarding for the day. I may try pickleball Wednesday of next week. So those are all like just sports things that change my focus, mix it up a little bit, and also like just enjoy something else other than what you've been doing nonstop. Mm-hmm. It's almost a prison of sort when you get deep into doing anything. It could be anything.
Yeah, I know pretty much all of my clients when they finish their competition season, they're like, "What do I do? What do I do?" I'm like, "Just go to the gym and do something fun. Like do something that speaks to you. Don't want to go to the gym? Go to a playground and do something fun. Like just move your body in a way that feels good to you because." again, that 100% compliance that is required to do well in this sport. Like at the end, you have to do your program as it is written. You can't be like, I don't feel like doing hip thrusts today. I'm going to just do kickbacks instead. No, because your body needs that exact stimulus or it's going to start to chew through that muscle because of the deficit that you're in. So yes, going and doing something that just feels good, even if it's totally different. But that's not your plan for the entire improvement season.
No.
This is just to give yourself a little break. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'll probably not get into any of those things too consistently because at some point, if I spread myself out all over the place like I have in the past when it comes to being like a jack of all trades, I'll be a master of none. And I really just do want to become a better bodybuilder. So I have to focus on that. But for now, a little bit of fun here and there. And, maybe I'll do it occasionally, just not habitually.
And then let's talk about the thing that I think people are probably most interested to hear. Trigger warning, probably. There's probably going to be number talk here. If you don't like that, skip over this chunk. Putting on weight is an absolutely critical thing that you have to do at the end of a competition prep. But for a lot of people, that is the hardest thing. It's actually not the prep itself. It's after the prep, kind of watching that physique starts to disappear behind some much needed body fat. What is your plan for that? How do you feel about it psychologically? And what would you say to somebody else who's struggling with the notion?
Well, I think it's only natural to struggle with the notion. I feel like more than 70% of people get into the sport because they're trying to become more accepting of their body image, and they're trying to improve their body image by proving to themselves that, one, they have control over it, and two, they can do this amazing thing with their body. It's unfortunate because, honestly, bodybuilding can actually put you in a position where it negatively affects your body image, and you don't know it until it's too late because you think you're doing something good for yourself, but then you get into this place where you find this level of extreme that is good for performance and bad for everyday life, and then you become married to the idea that that's what you should look like or that's what you can look like all the time. And it's not, and you shouldn't, because while you look like that, the way that you feel and your energy levels, they're off, So you got to get back to a healthy place. I have been through all kinds of preps. I've been through my very first prep where after I was done, I didn't know what the hell hit me and everything was completely out of control. Mm-hmm. And it was like overindulgence city. And then, I felt a lot of shame about my body. I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I do to myself? Why did I do this? What have
I become? How have I let myself turn into this?
And that actually led me down to a deep, dark, downward spiral and path, which is another conversation for another day.
That's interesting. I didn't know that's how that started, actually.
I believe it was the catalyst. I mean, I'm sure there were deeper psychological issues from like childhood and my teenage years that eventually manifested with a bodybuilding. Yeah, I mean, like anything else, problems don't just, like, by the time a problem comes to the surface, it's already been a thing. So I wouldn't say that bodybuilding was a cause of it, but it was definitely the catalyst. So after that show, it took a while to recover from that. Then I went through another prep where I was aware that things were out of control, and yet they were still out of control. Like, I gained weight in a way that it wasn't comfortable, or moreover, it wasn't intentional.
When was that?
I think that was the one that we did around the documentary that Robert and I were trying to do.
Yep.
Like, I should have gained weight like that, but it wasn't intentional. I wasn't accepting of it. There's a difference.
There is a difference.
There's a difference between, it's like, well, this should have happened, but you weren't committed to the process. Mm-hmm. It's a bad place emotionally, put it that way.
Yeah.
And it can set you back in other ways. Mentally. So then there was the whole reverse dieting craze where I was like super lean for, like a year or two. Mm-hmm. And it's like, improvement season what? I'm just sitting here being lean.
Right.
And I felt like I had complete control, and I to this day framed it as a good thing because I was like, you know what? If I really wanted to end this thing and just be fit and lean all the time, I could. Look, I did it. Mm-hmm. But that wasn't my short-term goal. That may be a long-term goal, but to prove what kind of point? Like, how did that serve me in the short term? It didn't. It didn't help with my improvement season, Good experiment, bad timing. Mm-hmm. And now this time around, it's all about recovery. It's about like, okay, I normally clock in at, we'll just use numbers because it's easy, right? I usually clock in at about $1.95, and I'm outside of the athletic body fat range. That is where my body wants to be when it's performing at its absolute best. It has a surplus of resources. I can do whatever I want with it. I'm like,
That phrase, I'm going to stop you there because I don't think a lot of people understand that. The way you just worded that was really good. When your body fat levels are sufficient. No, I'm not saying high. I'm saying sufficient. When they are sufficient, that body fat is a resource. Okay? Yes, you can have too much of it, but when you have enough of it, that is like an almost endless supply of energy for you to tap into so that you can be strong, powerful, fast, all of those sharp-witted. Like when you are very lean, you don't have that. You have to find those resources in other parts of your body. Yes, it'd be great if it would just go find a little bit of body fat, but when you're lean, you don't have much of it. It's going to start dipping into your muscle. It's going to start just slowing processes down because it recognizes you don't have the resources. You're not going to perform as well in the gym. I really like the way you worded that when you're above a quote unquote athletic body fat range, which is still in a very normal, healthy body fat range. That's when you perform your best because you can do goddamn anything with it.
and there's something that my coach said, and I might butcher this because I don't know if I remember the wording, but I liked it. It doesn't matter where you end your, how did he word this? It's like, however you wind up after your competition season, whatever you do to get to like the bulk of your improvement season, it doesn't really matter what you do and how you get there. It just matters that you get there. What's more important is where you start the next time that you compete. So in other words, it doesn't have to look pretty getting back to a healthier body weight. You just need to do it. You just need to commit to it, because the sooner you get there, the more work that you can do on yourself, and your body will adjust. Eventually, your body composition will continue to recalibrate. Your muscles will start getting good pumps. You'll get stronger. You'll put some of the lost muscle back on. You'll put even more muscle on. You'll put it on where you want it. And then eventually, at some point, when it comes time to prep, you'll clean everything up. And again, you can cross the starting line in the best possible position. So that end point, years down the line, that's when it's actually important to be controlled. In the beginning, get to where you need to be and get there fast, and everything else will balance itself out. It doesn't have to look pretty. It doesn't need to be controlled. I mean, yeah, some things should happen within reason, like your eating pattern should be somewhat normal, and you should be focused on healthy foods and having a good relationship with food and et cetera, but
way easier said than done.
yes.
Way easier said than
Yes.
done. Like a lot of people at the end of a prep don't even remember what eating normal looks like anymore.
And look, I can feel some of that stuff. I know it's wrong. I know it's off. I know I'm going to have to be intentional about getting back to a healthier place. But, having had this experience many times over, working with this through others, this is my life. This is what I do as a coach. I'm well aware of the things that I need to do so that this week doesn't turn into like a habit where I'm just, pounding down whatever's in front of me, whatever isn't nailed down, and like not eating healthy foods. Like spend a couple days just enjoying and just like not caring at all. Then, it's like, okay, have your 3 or 4 squares a day and make sure there's protein in each meal. Start to get some vegetables in again. And like within a week later, hold on to some of the habits that actually served you during prep. Like for me personally, Danny, here are some things that are going to happen, should happen, that are different than last time around. During the improvement season, meaning like I'm not focused on competing, I actually wind up getting a little lazy with my good habits that I need to be a better athlete. Meaning, am I getting in protein with every meal? Am I keeping fat a little bit on the lower side before and after my workouts? Am I staying properly hydrated? Am I eating mostly whole foods? The answer to a lot of these questions isn't yes. I get a little lazy and I say to myself, you know what? It's all right. I'm eating a surplus of calories. I'm not stressed. My sleep is pretty good. I don't need to focus on these details. I'll save that mental energy for when I actually need it, for when I'm prepping. But that's a mistake. These things, or you check yourself 2, 3, 4 times a year and you get back to this stuff. During this prep, Danny, I did all that stuff. I ate almost exclusively, like just whole, fresh foods. nuts, seeds, grains, vegetables. I made my own protein at home. I ate really, really well. And my thought process was like, I'm going to nail this now. And also, right, I wanted to make sure that I was giving myself the best possible nourishment I could while I was eating less. Because when you're eating less, it's that much more important.
Agreed.
Right? But it's like, you should be doing this stuff all the time within reason. You know what I mean? Like, still go out to eat, enjoy fun foods, but like, don't get lazy with the habits that got you to where you were so that you can actually take this that much further. So, you know, I wrote these things down. Like, what the things that I brought back that I get lazy about in the improvement season, I brought them back for my competition prep. I want to keep going with that stuff. So next week, you know, it's going to batch cooking healthy whole foods, you know, batch cooking my grains. If it's the summer, more fruits than grains. You know, getting in vegetables twice a day, getting in nice meals pre and post workout that are high in protein, low in fat, and just dense, stuff like that, you know, without that being an obsession. That's some of the stuff I think nutritionally. Training wise, you know, you reflect on what your body looked like in that super lean state and you think about what you need to do to improve. You think about what you could have done better or what you didn't do at all that you should have done. You know, like I focused a lot on my upper body, but I think I focused so much on my upper body that I lost some of what I could have showcased that, you know, that is my lower body, specifically my lower posterior chain. Like my glutes, my hamstrings could have looked way better. And because I focused so much on my upper body, those muscles took a little bit of a hit on stage. But some of that is just short-term sacrifice, I think, when you're trying to even out your symmetry top to bottom. But that's the kind of stuff that you want to put into place sooner rather than later. You don't want to become burnt out from your season and then not think about how you can improve.
What would you say to somebody who's coming out of either a contest prep or just a really hard diet where they got pretty lean and they're seeing the body fat come back on and they're freaking out?
Well, it depends on the person. If they already knew this stuff going in, I think it's a little easier to broach a conversation. If they didn't, you know, there's going to need to be a little bit of just, you know, hand-holding, if you will, because it's coming at you out of left field. It's very hard. It's normal. I think it's helpful to create safer cues for yourself so that you, while you're working on finding more acceptance for your body image and for the process of putting weight back on, I think it's helpful to focus on some other stuff. It gives you a little bit of mental space, if you will, to work on that, right? And so the things that we usually use, safe cues, are how clothing fits and feels, and having clothing that fits and feels good, right? That is a really important thing to focus on. To focus on the kind of energy that you have outside of lifting, energy for others, energy for your job, energy for yourself. To focus on how well you recover from workouts, to focus on how strong you are, you know, stuff like that, as opposed to like, what do my muscles look like with this pump? How aesthetic are they? I want to wear this outfit and it doesn't fit me anymore. You know, these things, while seemingly insignificant, can actually really take their toll on you because that's your environment. And if your environment is, well, we'll just say unsafe for lack of a better way of framing it, while you're focusing on your body image and putting weight back on, as healthy as that is, it's just a harder place to be in to do that work on yourself and to be comfortable with the process. So like for me, for example, this might sound silly to some, but 4 months before my prep and my season were over, I bought a pair of brand new boxers that were the normal size for me, you know, like 36 to 38, whatever. They're the boxers that I wear when I'm at my bulkiest state. I put them right in front of my closet. I said, I can't wait to rock that pair of boxers that I bought for myself. You know, I was at Mr. America, right? And there was a dude selling clothing. And I went and I bought the pair of extra large shorts. They're still sealed in a bag. Mm-hmm. That's my reward. Yeah. I get to rock those shorts when I'm at my bulkiest and having that wardrobe ready to go.
Yeah.
You know, like even
That's
right
smart.
now, I'm not there yet. Like I'm wearing sweatpants because I don't have enough energy to fix up my room and put my wardrobe the way that I needed to. So I'm a little behind the 8 ball, but the intention's there and the plan will be there. And as soon as I can, I'm going to set my wardrobe properly.
Yeah, it is. So many people get leaner and leaner and leaner for a contest and just start buying clothes for that body. And it's like, man, they are going to be disappointed because they're going to wear them for a couple months and then they're not going to fit anymore. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I have a couple pairs of leggings over here that are for a specific weight that I am at. But most of my, I don't get rid of my clothes that are bigger because I know full right and well that I'm going to end up wearing them again. But I think like so many times having gone through competition prep myself, at this point, when the prep is over, I just don't look at myself anymore. Like I'm never, I don't know, maybe how you feel about this, but I'm not the person that is like checking my abs 20 times a day during prep. I'm not the person checking things over and over and over again because that is not healthy. I mean, maybe during peak week, I'm checking stuff pretty carefully because I need to see how things are changing almost hour to hour. But I don't think that's a healthy way to be. And as soon as prep is over, like I don't do it at all anymore. At all. I just don't. And it's funny because I think most people would think, oh, someone competes in bodybuilding, they must just stare at themselves in the mirror all the time. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure there are people who do. But I think it's probably healthier if you don't. Like you see yourself at the gym. You know when things are moving in a good direction or not. Your body's not going to be telling the story of progress when prep is over. Your lifts are going to be telling the tale of progress when prep is over. The way you're performing in the gym, more so than your body. And yeah, I just think getting really hung up on what you look like is a recipe for disaster. And I tell people this all the time. Our bodies are in flux from now till the day we die. Like you can reach your goal weight, you can reach your goal physique, you can be in the best shape of your life, and that's awesome. You should have goals, you should reach those goals, and you should recognize that you will not stay there. Like your body is going to change. You're going to get leaner, you're going to get less lean, the shape of your body is going to change over time. I mean, you could get injured and your body could change dramatically between now and the end, and that's okay. It's beautiful, actually, that our bodies are constantly changing. Like, appreciate where you're at now. And I'm sure you can speak for this. When you are at your, like, heaviest in a building season, most people are like, oh, just be so cool to just, like, be lean. Like, I would just love to just be lean right now and see what that feels like. But then when you are really lean, you're like, oh my God, I cannot wait to feel as strong and energetic as I felt in the height of my off season. So it is a constant grass is always greener scenario, I feel like, with physique. So the answer is really to appreciate your body in that moment, but also be very, very ready to also let it go because it's gonna come and go. Mostly.
Mm-hmm. And to really love the process because there's a lot of limbo in between periods where you get to enjoy where you're at. They say that, right? Trust the process, enjoy the process. But it's true. If you get too hung up on the starting line or the finish line or like what you need to look like or what you do look like, you miss the forest for the trees and you forget why you're actually doing this and everything about it that made you who you are. It's like the outcome, the results and the outcome are not quite as important as everything you did to get there, in my personal opinion. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, other things, just getting back to like balance, hobbies, for example. Like for me, I'm going and taking a singing lesson tonight. For example, I've never taken singing lessons. I'm going to try to get into doing some things to like put some technology in our house, like make the house a little smarter because that's just something I enjoy. Stuff like that, or just like things that I stopped doing that I want to do, like getting settled into here more by doing some more yard work or cleaning the garage, or just getting back to stuff that I enjoy that I normally don't have time for, and I definitely didn't have time for while I was prepping, like gaming, for example. So, and of course, spending time with family and friends, It's bedtime for Daisy and Desmond. Let's hang out for half an hour, or dinner time. Let's eat with the family.
Yeah, these are all things that didn't happen.
No,
I will add because I don't know if people quite understand just how what's the word I'm looking for? Vacant, I guess. But I guess that's the word that keeps coming to my mind. How vacant that space is in everybody else's life when somebody is getting ready for a bodybuilding competition, because that person is gone. There is no time. There's no there's no time. There's no time for relationships. There's no time for communication. There's no time for relaxation. There's no time for chores. There's no time for anything. So, whenever someone comes to me and they're like, I really want to do bodybuilding competition. Just want to check it off my bucket list. I'm like, oh, honey, you have no idea what you are asking for because you either do what I just said or you show up and possibly embarrass yourself, which, those are your options.
Right.
You either say bye-bye to life for a while or you're not going to perform very well.
Yeah. Yeah, and you have to make some real tough decisions along the way, and sometimes you look back and you regret those decisions, and it's like, well, you had to do what you had to do to finish this thing, and you have to sort of course correct on the way out, right? We're going on a date this weekend, hitting up an escape room, we're going to visit my family next week, like just making up for lost time, essentially, Yeah, I think this is why it's important to work with somebody so they can help navigate you to a place where you regain your mental health and you're getting back to your baseline in as safe of a way as possible, and also because they know the pitfalls and they know what to expect before it happens and they can see it coming from a mile away, especially when they have the objective outlook because it's not them, it's you. Same thing with looking at your body, let them look at it and do all the analysis and all that. That way you can put your head down and do the work. But yeah, let me paint you a picture of what an average day looked like for me when I was into it, okay? So, normally Dane and I go to bed together, roughly around 10 p.m., Instead, I'm going to bed at 7:30 at night, and I'm trying my best to get 5 consecutive hours of sleep. With sleep aids, I can get about 7 to 8 hours of sleep, but it's broken and it's not always guaranteed. And sometimes I'm getting 5 hours. Sometimes I'm getting 3 hours and I'm fixing it. So my sleep hygiene and my sleeping patterns are wonky, right? Now I have to get in 60 to 90 minutes worth of walking, an hour's worth of training, and I have less focus throughout the day. So whenever I do have focus, I have to do what I got to do. Outside of my training, outside of my food prep, outside of my activity like my walking, outside of all that, so it's like all day long I'm searching for my focus, and whenever I have it, boom, I'm doing what I have to do so that I'm getting all my work done. For example, I'm doing everything I need to do for prep and everything in between. It's not easy. So here I am, I'm going to bed at 7:30. I'm waking up on average at like 3 in the morning, sometimes earlier. I'm starting the day. I'm getting in 2 hours of work before the sun rises. Now, still before the sun rises, I'm going outside with a ring light and a headlamp. And I'm going for a walk in the pitch black dark. And I'm watching check-ins. And I'm updating people in the pitch black outside before the sun even rises. You know what I mean? And I'm doing this for like an hour or two because those check-ins need to be taken care of. And I'm not multitasking. Like I'm walking. I'm still fully paying attention to them. But I need to find the time. 2 hours of work at my desk, 3 in the morning to 5 in the morning, walking from 5 to 7, doing check-ins in the dark, coming back home, doing more work. And then, there's the checking in with your coach, there's the checking in on yourself, there's
the crashing halfway through the day for an hour
that
to get some sleep.
There's also, it's also just a matter of get as much sleep as you can, because that's you're not recovering because your body's healthy. You're not recovering because you're eating enough. As a matter of fact, your recovery is worsening. So your best defense against poor recovery is to sleep even more than you normally would. So after I come back from the gym, what do? I take a nap. It's like a full-time job to manage your body so that as it's getting to a place where it's harder and harder to keep going, you're giving your body as much as you can give it so that it can do what it needs to do to look its best. It's a lot.
It is a lot. Hey, guys, I dare you to go back to the podcast from 2 weeks ago and compare, one, how much 𝐬𝐿𝐾 spoke on that podcast to this one, and also the pace and energy with which he speaks from a couple weeks ago till now. I'm just sitting across from him and I'm like, holy crap, what a big difference in such a short period of time. Oh, I'm so happy. You have no idea. And for those of you who Or like, I don't get it. Why would anybody ever want to do this? We do have an episode. I don't remember what number it is, but we do have an episode about why we love bodybuilding in spite of all of these things. So I'd encourage you to take a listen to that too, just so you don't think we don't like this sport, because we very much so do.
Hey listeners, we hope you have been enjoying this episode, and we appreciate your love of all things vegan fitness. For those of you who want even more support on your vegan fitness journey, check out our Muscles by Brussels community and become a member. By joining the team, you are one of our exclusive VIPs. As a member, you'll find over 200 macro-friendly, high-protein recipes that can meet any of your meal planning needs. You'll also receive training programs that update monthly. This training has progressive overload built into it, so you can be sure if you're following the program, you are making progress. All of this and more is located inside our Vegan Proteins members-only app. As a Muscles by Brussels member, you'll unlock bonus courses, challenges, and more every month. You'll also be invited to our live Zoom video calls, which happen 2 times a month, and are absolute gold to those who show up. And if you can't make the calls, don't worry, you have the opportunity to email us whenever you want. You'll receive a video response to all of your questions from one of the coaches here at Vegan Proteins every time you message us. Members also receive 40% off many of our other services. And of course, our private community of like-minded individuals is like no other. Best of all, you can try this membership out for a full month at no cost to you with this special offer for our listeners only, because we appreciate and want to fully support you. Use the link in our show notes to sign up for your free trial today. We hope to see you on our next live coaching call. I absolutely love this. I do. I truly think that, well, although it tests you and every time you compete, you're in an unhealthy place, anything you take to the extreme, you're going to wind up compromising your health and you're going to be unbalanced. That's not just bodybuilding. So it's like, what do you want to do with your life? And are there any sort of things you want to do that are going to require you to take things to the extreme because you want to be an expert? For us, for me personally, it's bodybuilding, you know, and to navigate it in a healthy way and in a balanced way is an art. It really is. And it takes years and decades of practice, like anything else.
Decades.
It does. And then the other thing is to be able to do everything in a compromised system, like when your body is that compromised, to be able to do everything you normally do and that much more, you know, where you're superhuman in a sense, even if like your mood is crap. That in of itself is a skill. Like you become a super efficient person. If you can be the type of person that can get everything you normally get done in a place where your system is compromised, your mental health is off, your sleeping patterns are off, your eating patterns are challenged, everything about you makes it so that life is harder, and yet your focus is off, you're able to do everything you normally do, you're able to compete, and you're able to do even more. You typically wind up growing when you're competing. Like you find that you're your best self in lots of ways, even though you're your worst self in some other ways. Then when you're not competing, that discipline carries over into everyday life, and you wind up becoming a better person because of it, because of what you did to accomplish and have a successful season and a successful prep. At least that's how I feel about it. It comes with its set of risks, don't get me wrong. But again, I strongly feel that anything that you want to become an expert at, you're going to have to go to extremes, and you're going to wind up seeing yourself being in a place where your health is compromised. But you make it out on the other side an even stronger person because of it.
Moving on to our question and answer segment. Okay, this question is about visible abs. How do vegan bodybuilders keep their stomach so flat and their abs visible? I might be wrong, but I think my body fat is pretty low, but my stomach is almost never flat, but rather bloated. Not from gas or something like that, but just from food. And I feel I'm kind of in a bind. On one hand, you need to eat a lot with vegan nutrition in order to see results. On the other hand, you want abs.
Interesting question. The first thing that comes to mind for me is this person's reference of vegan bodybuilders and what they're looking at when they see visible abs, because typically when people take pictures, they're in peak conditioning. And when they take pictures, it's also like with the best lighting, with the best photographer, and the pictures themselves are touched up, if you will.
Well, they're also posed. You're also flexing your abs. People don't usually walk around like that.
Like that 5-second transformation thing that I did, where it was literally the difference of 5 seconds, where I just chilled and stood out there and just let it all hang out, and then I flexed, and then boom, you saw abs. There are other things, though, that do come into play, right? You don't have to be vegan. You don't have to be bodybuilding stage shredded to have visible abs. Well, yeah, for the most part. You could find yourself in an athletic body fat range, but you also do need to train abs to some degree in order for your rectus abdominis, your six-pack, the muscle in your abs that line the outer wall of your abs, for those to bellow out a little bit and to show the definition. And I hesitate to say that because typically when someone wants abs, they train their abs harder than every other part of their body. And that actually doesn't look good, because now you have an overdeveloped midsection, which actually is a little...
Protrudes.
Protrudes. That's a good way to frame it. It protrudes, and it doesn't look good relative to the rest of your body. Your best bet is to build the muscles that create an X-frame, meaning like your shoulders and your lats and your glutes and your hamstrings and your quads, like all the muscles around your abs that make it so that your waist looks more narrow, all right? And that gives the illusion that your midsection is tighter, and then a reasonable amount. Like, you can't ignore your abs, but you also shouldn't overtrain them. So maybe like hitting them twice a week and making sure that you make sure you hit your abs, make sure you do some crunches or some ab rollouts or anything really. But another thing that you can focus on is posing. When you pose, what do your abs look like, right? You can focus on a vacuum, for example, for a vacuum pose, and that can really give the illusion that not only do you have a six-pack, but like your waist is super narrow. Ab control, for example, can make a big difference in the way that your abs look when they're flexed. So that's another trick. So train your abs, I would say, like once to twice a week, all the time. And then learning how to flex your abs, and then learning some ab control, and being in a leaner body fat range. Even if you're the type that holds most of your body fat in your midsection, because some are, I would say the average male does hold most of their body fat in their midsection. When you're in the lower end of an athletic body fat range, chances are, as long as you've trained your abs, you should probably be able to see them when you flex them. When you're resting, by the way, not so much. Even people who are ready to step on stage, by the way, just so you know. There's questions for you, Danny. Hey, I've had a lot of shoulder issues over the years, and I've finally overcome it. My question for you, wise people, is this. When I look in a mirror, there is a visible difference in the size of my upper arms and shoulders. I want to even this out. I'm wondering the best way to conquer this strength size difference. So far, I've been picking the weights based on my weaker arm shoulder movements, but still do the movements equally. Is there a better way, or is this best until my muscles grow in balance?
Okay, great question. So first of all, I would say most people have some asymmetry from left to right in their arms and their shoulders and their legs. Like, most people have a little bit of it anyway, even if they're equally as strong, right? Like, you can have a left and right bicep that are equally as strong, but one measures in a quarter or half an inch smaller all the time. Super frustrating, but it does happen. Choosing the weight based on the weaker side is definitely the way to go. You want to... Some people say, well, should I do different weights for different sides? No. If you do different weights for different sides, you're going to increase that imbalance, not decrease it. So even if, let's say, your right arm can do a shoulder press with a 25-pound dumbbell, but your left can only do 20-pound dumbbells, guess what? You're doing 20-pound dumbbells on both sides. So do all of your sets towards the weaker side's strength, and then at the end of that day or body part or whatever you're training, add a couple of sets just for that weaker side. So as a finisher, do a couple of extra sets of shoulder presses or lateral raises or bicep curls or tricep extensions, but just with that weaker side. And keep monitoring it. Keep checking it out. Keep watching it in the mirror to see and measuring it to see if it does start to balance out. But that's the best way to fix that particular type of asymmetry from left to right. All right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Vegan Proteins Muscles by Brussels Radio. Feel free to reach out to us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, on our website, veganproteins.com. If there's anything you would like to hear about, please reach out to us either through the contact form on veganproteins.com or you can just email us, coach@veganproteins.com. And we love to hear from you and we love to make the kind of content that you want to hear. So thanks again for tuning in. My name is Danny.
I'm Giacomo.
And we will talk to you soon.